Welcome to While We Were Distracted, the podcast where we explore topics that often get overshadowed in the rush of daily life. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something that we all probably need a refresher on. How to effectively speak up when we see something wrong. You know that saying, if you see something, say something.
Right.
Well, we're giving that a bit of a modern upgrade today.
Yeah, it's more crucial now than ever to understand the tools and resources that are available to us. I mean, we're not just talking about like reporting a suspicious package anymore.
Right.
We're talking about recognizing patterns of organized crime, advocating for those who can't speak for themselves, and navigating all the complexities of a world where information and misinformation spreads like wildfire.
Exactly. And to help us unpack all of this, we've got some pretty incredible resources from USA.gov. To be honest, I was surprised by how much information's out there and how much power we actually have as individuals to make a difference.
It is empowering, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For instance, it's not just about dialing 911 anymore. The resources emphasize finding your local law enforcement's 10-digit number for emergencies outside your area.
Oh, interesting.
It makes sense, but I hadn't really considered it before.
Yeah, that highlights a crucial point. Even in an increasingly interconnected world, local agencies are often the first responders.
Yeah.
They're the ones who can take immediate action, connect with national or even international organizations like Interpol if needed, and truly make a difference on the ground.
And get this, anonymous tips are possible for a wider range of crimes than I ever imagined.
Oh,
Child
yeah.
abuse, human trafficking, even bomb threats.
Oh, okay.
It really struck me that you don't have to be directly involved to make a difference.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating is how this connects to the idea of whistleblowing. Think about the impact whistleblowers have had on exposing corruption, protecting public health, or even preventing environmental disasters. Sometimes speaking up about something you've witnessed, even anonymously, can have a ripple effect far beyond what you might imagine.
Which brings us to RICO co-crime, something I'll admit I was a little intimidated by at first.
Definitely a complex area of law, but essentially it refers to organized crime,
Yeah.
patterns of illegal activity, conspiracies, groups working together to commit crimes. The see something, say something idea applies here too. But it's about recognizing those patterns, connecting the dots, and understanding the bigger picture.
So instead of just witnessing a single incident, it's about seeing how seemingly isolated events might actually be part of a larger criminal enterprise.
Exactly. And that's where having resources like those from USA.gov can be so valuable. They can help you understand the signs of organized crime, the types of activities that fall under ICO statutes, and how to report what you've seen to the appropriate authorities.
I want to pause here for a second and ask you, the listener, a question.
Okay.
Think back on your own experiences. Have you ever been in a situation where having this information would have been helpful? Maybe you saw something suspicious but weren't sure who to contact, or perhaps you felt powerless to speak up about a larger issue.
It's a powerful question to reflect on. And as we delve deeper into these resources, you'll see how understanding your rights and the available reporting mechanisms can make a real difference.
Speaking of rights, the USA.gov guide also talks about whistleblower protections through OSHA, which seems like a pretty big deal.
It's absolutely crucial to know that you have legal protections if you choose to report wrongdoing, especially in the workplace.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, OSHA provides guidelines on how to file a complaint about something I see at work, and they also protect me from retaliation for speaking up.
Exactly. They have multiple ways to file a complaint online, by mail, phone, or even in person at a local office. And the protections are designed to ensure that you are not punished or discriminated against for reporting illegal activities or safety violations.
That's reassuring to know, especially since I think a lot of people worry about the potential consequences of speaking up, whether it's at work or in their community.
That fear of retribution is a major obstacle for many people.
Yeah.
That's why these protections are so vital. They provide a framework for accountability and encourage individuals to come forward without jeopardizing their livelihoods or their safety.
It's like a safety net, knowing that there are systems in place to support those who speak up.
Precisely. And it reinforces the idea that we have a collective responsibility to hold each other accountable, whether it's reporting a crime or exposing unethical behavior within an organization. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's zoom out and talk about the international angle. The guide mentions Interpol, which always sounds a bit intense to me.
It does have that air of mystery, doesn't it?
It does, but it's actually a vital organization.
Okay.
Interpol plays a crucial role in facilitating cooperation between law enforcement agencies worldwide. While individuals can't report directly to Interpol, reporting crimes to local authorities can trigger collaboration with Interpol on international cases.
So even if a crime seems to have international connections, it's still important to start by reporting it to your local law enforcement.
Exactly. They can then work with Interpol to pursue justice across borders if necessary. It's like a chain reaction. Your action at the local level can have ripple effects on a global scale.
This has been a lot of information to take in, but I have to say it's empowering to know there are resources and systems in place to support us in speaking up.
Absolutely. It's about shifting from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered. By understanding the tools and protections available, we can move from being passive bystanders to becoming active participants in creating a safer and more just world. It really is about taking that classic see something, say something message and adapting it to the complexities of the modern world.
I like that, adapting it to the complexities of the modern world. It really does feel like the stakes are higher now than ever before.
Mm.
We're facing global challenges, social and political divides, and a digital landscape that can amplify both the best and worst of human behavior.
Exactly. And in this kind of environment, silence can almost be complicity. If you see something wrong and you don't say anything, are you letting the problem continue? Are you letting someone down who might not be able to speak up for themselves? It's a tough question to ask, but it's one we all need to grapple with.
I think it goes back to that idea of feeling overwhelmed, like we talked about earlier.
Right.
Sometimes the problems feel so big, so complex, that it's hard to know where to even begin.
Yeah, it's easy to feel that way, but I think that's where the idea of like upgrading the if you see something, say something message comes in.
Okay?
It's not just about reporting immediate threats anymore. It's about actively engaging in creating a more just and equitable world.
Yeah.
It's about taking those small steps, using the resources we have, and recognizing that our individual actions can contribute to a larger movement for change.
So instead of just being reactive, we need to be proactive.
Yeah.
Instead of just hoping things will get better, we need to take concrete steps to make them better.
Exactly. And those steps don't have to be huge, earth-shattering actions. It could be as simple as sharing information with someone, having a conversation about a difficult topic, or supporting organizations that are working to address the issues you care about.
It's like that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yes.
Right.
It sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah.
And think about the Me Too movement, for example. Individuals shared their stories of harassment and abuse, and it created a global wave of awareness and accountability. It demonstrated the power of speaking up even when it's difficult, and it broke the silence surrounding a pervasive issue.
It's incredible to think about how many people were impacted by that movement, how many lives were changed because individuals found the courage to speak up. And it really does highlight the importance of believing and supporting those who come forward, especially when they're sharing difficult or traumatic experiences.
Absolutely. Creating a culture where people feel safe and supported to speak up is essential for addressing systemic issues and holding perpetrators accountable. We need to foster an environment of empathy where active listening is valued and where those who speak truth to power are not ostracized or punished, but rather lifted up and supported.
So it's not just about knowing the resources and the legal protections. It's about creating a cultural shift where speaking up is seen as a sign of strength, not weakness.
Right.
Where it's encouraged and celebrated, not silenced or punished.
Precisely. And it ties back to the ethical considerations we touched on earlier. We need to think about the potential for both positive and negative consequences, especially in a world where information spreads so rapidly and often anonymously online.
That's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. On the one hand, technology can be incredibly empowering. It can give a voice to those who might not have had one before, and it can expose wrongdoing that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. But on the other hand, it can also be used to spread misinformation, to harass and intimidate, and to silence dissenting voices.
It's a double-edged sword, for sure. So the question becomes, how do we harness the power of technology for good while mitigating the potential for harm? How do we encourage responsible speaking up, protect individuals from retaliation, and make sure that the information being shared is accurate and verified?
That's a big question. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but it seems like it starts with critical thinking, right?
Yeah.
We need to be discerning consumers of information, questioning our sources, considering multiple perspectives, recognizing the potential for bias and manipulation.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not just about speaking up. It's about speaking up thoughtfully, ethically, and with an awareness of the broader context. It's about understanding that our words have power and that we need to wield that power responsibly.
You know, it feels like we've been having two separate conversations this whole time.
Hmm.
One about the practicalities of speaking up, the resources, the hotlines, the
Yeah,
legal protections,
right.
and another about the larger cultural context, the power of individual voices, the need for a shift in how we view speaking up, the responsibility we all have.
It is interesting you say that because I think those two conversations are actually deeply intertwined. We can't really talk about the mechanics of speaking up without also talking about the culture that either encourages or discourages that kind of action.
I see what you mean. If we don't create a culture where speaking up is valued and supported, then all the hotlines and legal protections in the world won't make a difference. People will still be afraid to come forward.
Exactly. So I think the real challenge, the question we all need to grapple with as a society is how do we create that culture? How do we foster an environment where speaking up is seen as a sign of strength and integrity, not a weakness or a liability?
Okay, I'm going to put on my optimistic hat for a second and say that I think we're already starting to see some of those cultural shifts happening.
Yeah.
The Me Too movement, for example, or the rise of whistleblowers in various industries, those are signs that people are no longer willing to stay silent in the face of injustice.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a growing awareness that we all have a role to play in holding power accountable and speaking up for what's right. And that awareness is translating into action.
So what can we do as individuals to contribute to that cultural shift? What are some practical steps that we can take to make a difference?
First and foremost, educate yourself.
Okay.
We've talked about a lot of different resources today, but there are countless others out there. Learn about the issues you care about, understand the systems that perpetuate those issues, and find out what organizations are working to address them. Knowledge is power, as they say. The more informed you are, the more equipped you'll be to make a difference.
So it's not enough to just feel outraged by something we see on social media. We need to actually do the work to learn about the complexities of the issue, to understand the nuances, and to find out how we can make a meaningful contribution.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of conversation.
Hmm.
Talk to your friends and family about these issues. Share information, ask questions, and challenge each other to think critically about the world around us. Sometimes just starting a conversation can plant a seed that leads to bigger changes down the line.
It's like that whole idea of ripple effects, right?
Yes,
A single conversation can lead to a shift in perspective, which can lead to a change in behavior, which can ultimately contribute to a larger cultural transformation.
exactly. And don't forget the power of supporting organizations that are already doing the work on the ground. Whether it's through volunteering your time, donating money, or simply spreading the word about their mission, there are countless ways to get involved and make a difference.
I love that we've gone from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered in this deep dive. It's a reminder that we're not powerless in the face of these big challenges. We all have a role to play, and even small actions can make a difference.
Well said. And remember, you're not alone in this.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned something new, and more importantly, that you feel inspired to speak up and make a difference.
Upgraded mantra. If you see something, do something. Take action. Our improved future requires all of our participation. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps.